through the eyepiece, and you'll see more light. You can get a 10-inch, an 18-inch, even a 25-inch mirrored Dobsonian scope for a very decent price. Don't leave it out in the weather, because most of them are plywood or even worse, particle board. They won't take the weather. So if you're going to haul them out in moist grass and go stargazing, look at throwing the telescope away in a couple of years. It won't make it. You need to be on a cul-de-sac somewhere out in the country, set it up on asphalt, and then it'll last you for years and years. And they've got collapsible ones that will smash right down and fit in the trunk of a Volkswagen. A Dobsonian is a good low-budget tool. Not so good for photography because you're only going to get a snapshot. There's no motor drive with it. It's a point and shoot. You climb a ladder, haul it around, and look in it. And it's spectacular. It really is. It's great for kids' shows. But if you want to do some serious astronomy, you want to do a year-long project looking for Nibiru, or you want to track the movements of Earth relative to Sirius, then you're going to need a more sophisticated telescope. And I know you've been wanting one. And you might go in together as a bunch of friends and, buy a $5,000 scope. You can get one, an 8-incher, for less than $2,000. Trust me, if you get an 8-incher, you're going to be really lusting after a 10-incher. And if you've bought a 10-incher, you're going to be salivating for a 14-incher. So you might as well just save your money and buy the big one, because the things that you can see with it will just blow your mind. It gathers so much light. It's amazing. And who knows, you might save the planet. And that's what it's all about. So the workshop they had in Washington, D.C. was to increase the collective understanding of NEOs, communicate NASA's plans for human missions to an NEO in the 2024 to 2026 timeframe, and receive community input on mission objectives, said Douglas Cook, NASA's Associate Administrator for Exploration Systems. I think it's cool. There are 69 active NASA missions now in space, and I think it's exciting. It's a good thing to look forward to. And one of the things that we realize, if you go on a dark sky event, and if you live anywhere on the eastern seaboard, in fact, you live anywhere in the country, you can find an amateur astronomer in your neighborhood that would be delighted for you to come over and look through his telescope. They live for this stuff. They love to have people come over and look through their telescopes. Just put a want ad in the paper that you're wanting to do it. They'll contact you. Go to the local high school and ask them. They'll always know who's got a big scope in your neighborhood. And you can go out there without spending anything. And chances are he's going to have a dozen old scopes in his basement, and he'd be happy to sell you one and get your kid inspired in the right direction, looking at the heavens. Because there's something amazing about it, people. I mean, it's wonderful to lay on your back and look up at the stars. It's quite another to look through a really good telescope. It sort of lets us know who we are. It lets us feel how small we are and how special we are as a planet. And it also lets us know how special we are as individuals. Because it doesn't take too long, a mere few minutes, certainly no more than a few hours. And no matter who you are, you're going to take some introspection at that time, and you're going to say, wow, I'm probably not alone. Not on this earth, not in this galaxy, and certainly not in this universe. And so we think about the distance and time and existence, and this feeling will come over you eventually. You'll have it. You get the feeling you've been here before, or maybe you just get the feeling that you've existed before. Many philosophies, traditions, religions call this pre-existence. It's a before life, a pre-mortal existence. And it refers to the belief that each individual human soul existed before conception. In fact, many people believe that conception, the actual bonding of the sperm and the egg, the hyaluronidase reaction, the hormonic change that instantly occurs within milliseconds of the fertilization of the egg, isn't really the beginning of life. It is the beginning of the fetus. It might even be the locking in of an intelligence to that growing organism. But that intelligence, many believe, comes and goes during that gestation period. That as that fetus becomes 2 cells, and then 4, and then 8, and then 16, and then forms a zygote, and then a fetus, it is conscious. He or she feels and hears. But it's also pretty well accepted that that intelligence exists long before that physical being begins to form. That it is intelligent, it is experienced, and it comes with a full set of feelings, and it comes with a full set of scripts and habits. And it, depending on whether it is believed that the soul enters the body, one of these pre-existent souls enters or is placed by God, many believe, in the body. This belief is held to a varying degree in Abrahamic and other religions. It also exists in several philosophies, which we're going to talk about tonight. Alternative positions are Traducianism and creationism, which both hold that the individual human soul does not come into existence until conception. Most traditions, most philosophies do not believe that. They believe that the human intelligence does exist long before conception, eons before conception. Plato believed that in the preexistence of the soul, which tied in with his innateism, I'll explain that in a moment, he thought that we are born with knowledge from a previous life that is subdued at birth and must be relearned or remembered. He saw all attainment of knowledge not as acquiring new information, but as remembering previously known information. Before we were born, we existed in a perfect world where we knew everything. This theory is similar to reincarnation, although there are differences. Plato only believed in one earthly life, okay? You just knew everything. You were all-knowing before you came here. And depending on how stupid your parents made you as a kid, you forgot everything, or some of it, or most of it. And the rest of your life is a struggle to try to remember those things. Now, you'll remember even Aristotle ascribed to this innateism. All knowledge is innate. It's all inside of you. The whole universe is folded up inside of you. All knowledge in the universe is already inside of you. And so when Aristotle was asked to contemplate all possible forms of government, he just sealed himself in a room and thought about it. And what he came up with was theocracy, aristocracy, democracy. All of these things he thought of while he was in the room. No one told him. These were innate things. Now, you have to admit, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, all of these men were extremely brilliant. And they lived lives that allowed them to spend most of it thinking. Most of us have to spend most of our life working our butts off, so that we can just make the basics. Or maybe we want a little bit more than the basics, and so we work a little bit harder. We get more education. We get more experience. And maybe we get so much experience we become unemployable and we have to start our own company. Yeah, we work our butts off for the stuff we have. We struggle to make the mortgage payment. We never really finish. Even people that I know that have paid their houses off, own all their cars, are completely out of debt. They're still working. They're still dreaming. They're still reaching out there because they're driven by something. And that's what I want to think about this hour. I want you to contribute if you're thinking about this stuff, because we're gonna crack it open maybe in a way you haven't thought about it before. Not so much from a philosophical point of view, but from a physics point of view. And I want your input. So if you're off planet out there, you can reach a cell phone tower. You can get to us, 530-413-4511. West of Earth, 530-413-4515. And east of Earth, 530-413-4520. And if you're out and about or listening to this on the radio and you want to step away from the radio, you can join this by cell phone. Take your walk, put your Bluetooth on, 712-432-0075, and then put in the passcode 318116#. It's all listed at the website at x2radio.com, at bbsradio.com. You can go to these websites, get all this information for yourself while we're listening. As we wrap up this hour, we got about 12 minutes of this hour. I want to finish covering the foundation here before we launch off into really trying to understand what form we existed in and how we thought about the pre-existence. We've covered this before on this program, but it's been several months. I remember it was kind of cold the last time that we talked about this, and we had a lot of mail as people were thinking about it and comparing it against what they've been told by their traditional teacher or what they contemplated as they were thinking about it. And the reason I want to crack this open is because it gives you a profound sense of energy, of cause, if you want to reach out further and become more in this mortal life. So we have people that are out there. Alex is out there working tonight on the job, and he writes in on Skype that he's bored. You know, I had somebody ask me last night while I appeared to have a blank expression on my face, which I don't know if you ever do that or not. But they asked me if I was bored, and I said, no, I'm not. I'm not bored, really. I got something's going on in my mind all the time. Because I got a lot to do and not much time to get it done, you know. Mortal life is very, very quick. It goes by super fast. If you don't believe me, go to the website, rememberingthefuturebook.com. Order the book and read it. But if you don't order the book, just go to the website and look, because what you'll see on the cover of the website there is my high school graduation picture and a recent photograph of myself. To me, these two photographs are about an hour apart. To you, yeah, there's something like close to 40 years apart. Well, 40 years? Are you kidding me? 40 years went by in about 60 minutes. And it wasn't as though I wasn't savoring every moment. I was. I didn't sleep much. Come on. Sleep's for sissies. You sleep when you need to, not because you have to. Do stuff. Do stuff. Dream, and dream large. You know, a prominent theologian, and his name was, and I always have a hard time pronouncing this, I'm going to call it Origen, O-R-I-G-E-N. It could be Origen, but Origen sounds more like a theologic leader. He wrote about 250 A.D. about the preexistence of the soul. Funny How many great thinkers have thought about that. He taught that the soul's very source was God. Source